just a quick summary for us here at Health Boxes. Part of the reasons why we're trying to, I'm not using the word trying, why we do this is because we want to raise awareness for Nigerians, for Africans, about certain aspects that mostly I pick my topics as they come. So, so it's not very regimented. So today we were having a few conversations with, in the course of last week, I was having a conversation with several male friends and also some people that called into the telemedicine line, because Health Boxes is a telemedicine service. And we've been finding that a lot of men don't do their screenings as they should. So this really is mostly to be able to help understand why that is so, and what else we can do what men in particular should be doing to make it better, I guess. So in this instance, I'm just trying to see if we're live on Facebook. Ronke, are we live on Facebook yet? Not. Okay, we'll just use the recording anyway, and we'll see. So I'll just throw my questions out, and whoever is happy to answer the questions, please feel free to just jump in. So I'm hoping this won't last for more than, what, 15 more minutes. Sorry, it was supposed to be 15 from the beginning, but I know we're starting a bit late. Yeah, so essentially, I personally, and I might be wrong, but I'm of the opinion that a lot of men shy away from going for preventative health measures. So these are things like having screenings, doing exercise. I'm looking at everybody here, and everybody looks trim. Everybody looks like they're gymming. And that was because I made it so random, and it seems as if maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I'm sort of subconsciously surrounded by people that take healthcare seriously. That wasn't what I was expecting anyway. But yes, so so let's talk about that. Would anybody here say they take their healthcare seriously, and to what degree? So what do you typically do on an annual basis, for example? Who would like to go first? Okay, so that's Gola.
Yeah, well, I think your observation is right in the morning, because it's just a coincidence that the people discussing here are, looking trim and fit and all that. That is a mere coincidence. It's not the reality of the situation. I live in a part of Lagos called Anthony Village, and it's in an estate, a Ajao estate.
I live in Anthony Village.
Maybe that is where our relationship is. So in the morning when I'm going to work, I leave very early because sometimes I get involved in some radio programs, which require that I'm in the studio by 6 a.m. So 5:30, I have left home. So what you see is that the complexion of the people who are jogging in the morning actually involves more women than men. So even on the exercise side of things, there seems to be more women getting involved in exercises than the men. The second part is, we're talking about why men are not showing interest or appear not to. Just look at my itinerary that I just mentioned now. So I leave home at 5:30 in the morning. So there's a general mentality for men to say, look, I don't have the time to go spend in a doctor's office. If I leave at 5:30 and I come back by 8, 9, where is that time to go spend in a doctor's office? I don't have it in reality. But another question would now be, does it mean that women now have more of such time? Is that why they make more time to be there, or is it just a matter of priorities? So that is a twist, and I'll just leave it so that other people can chip in at that level.
Okay, who has other comments? Me, I think women prioritize more, maybe because we feel more responsible for the children that are underneath us. I don't know, but let's leave it. I think. So Bimbo, you're muted. Did you want to jump in?
Yes. I just want to share my own view. Basically, like he rightly said, for men, I think we are just too conscious of some certain things. Time, I mean, it's of essence to us. And, you know, for a man that wakes up very early in the morning and the first thing that you look at is, okay, where am I staying? Maybe somewhere very far away from your place of work. And it means you need to leave home very early. You look at the tasks that you have for the day. So running through all that, you look at it, at what time actually do you have? You know, coping with work pressure, what time do you really have to set aside to go and see your doctor? So that alone makes men to forget that there's a need for them to actually visit the hospital to check out one or two things concerning their health until probably we start feeling some certain ailments, or that's when you decide to now think it's important for you to go to the hospital. That's my own view.
Yes, I think that is also the case because, so for example, part of the conversation that I did have in the course of the week that actually sparked this whole topic for me was I was talking to one of my friends, and he's a doctor, so he should know better. At least he went to medical school. And he was telling me that when he was 38, right, he did it, which was a few years ago now, he did his physical screening with his boss, who was 68 at the time, and his boss was a lady. So she came back with the results of a 40-year-old, and he came out with the results of a 60-something-year-old. Exactly. So it reminded me, because I am surrounded as okay, so it looks as if I'm the one that has caused the problem with Facebook Live. Hold on a second, let me try and see if I can solve that and just come out of Facebook. Okay, so Ronke, please check again. Yes, so so when I had that conversation with him, I started to think about it. Why really? I have male friends, and I'll be the one harassing them. You'll be complaining to me about this. I actually have another one. He lives outside Nigeria, but he came in and it was like, oh Lola, okay, this is your health boxes thing. I have this ailment on my leg. I've had it for 3 weeks. What can you people do about it? And you know, literally, he went to play football, and his leg, he's been hurting him for 3 weeks, and he has, you know, yes, he's gone to a doctor. They've told him to go and do certain things, but he hasn't done anything. So it's those sort of things that is, you know, why I still don't get it. At least a woman would know that pain is not the real reason why. At least by the time you felt the pain for the first day, second day, you got to hospital to find out why. But most men will be calling round friends to find out what else they can do instead of going. So is there a fear factor there, would you say? Tolu?
For me, it's fair. I don't lie. I've always hated going to the hospital. The smell, the sight of needles have always freaked me out, right? Ever since I was a child. Now, but for me, my coping mechanism has been, you know what, if you hate going to the hospital, what can you do to prevent you from going to the hospital? And so the last time, I mean, I've asked doctors, what must I do so that I don't come back to see you? And they say, you have to do this, exercise, eat well, do this, do this, do that. So Because I hate going to the hospital, I drew up a regimen for myself and said that, look, you're not going to go there if you do certain things. So I pick on good habits, right? Anything that I come across that is good for me, I start to do it. So I drink a lot of water. I try not to think about alcohol, even when people present it to me as I just shy away from it. Exercises, I do. I won't say I do it regularly, but yeah, I get around. I do it as often as I can, and I try to eat the right food. So for me, fear is the thing. So maybe if we as parents, right, new level parents now, we can, and doctors, the health industry can make going to the hospital rather interesting for young people. You can actually do that. I mean, okay, so look at Luke, for instance. I think it's oncology, that cancer department.
Yeah.
They actually got some artists to help paint the whole place, right? Butterflies. It made the place come alive. The children don't feel as apprehensive as they used to when they're going there. I mean, children that have cancer and everything like that. And you will see some dentists. They do a lot to make children very, very comfortable with the experience. So,
okay, so what I'm hearing then is that you're saying that it's childhood experiences that have sort of framed this.
So for me, I think that might be something. So experiences frame up one's disposition in life. Eventually, I always go to the hospital if the situation is bad. I drag myself there.
You wait till it is bad.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Tolu Oduyale the next question, and it has to do with. I'm going to ask him the next question. It has to do with screening. Have you, so aside from exercise, which obviously seems as if is the go-to easy option for most men, have you what of have you been able to do any other, have you done any screening, for example? So for example, prostate screening, have you done, you know your numbers, you know, with regards to blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes at the lower stage? Have you done any of that? Have I put you on the
I guess
spot?
no, it's cool. I think going off from what my namesake was saying, even though I wouldn't say fear, but it's, for most men, I find it's about not looking for what's not lost. You know, like if it's not.
If it ain't broken.
If it ain't broken, don't
fix it. Don't fix it.
If it's not broken, like, but wow. And but then you will not know if it's not broken now.
But I think it's how maybe we've grown up as boys. You know, as boys, we tend to play rougher. We injure ourselves. Many people, I'm sure, have had that experience. You go and play ball, you cut your toe, you jump down from somewhere, you scrape your knee. And over time, these are not things that we went to hospital for per se. It's something that time healed. You know, I've had multiple injuries that time just did this thing. And then I guess mentally, you just grow into that mindset that if it's not that serious, time will heal it. So if it's taking, like your friend said, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you now start to have a concern, like, hang on a second, this is not going to plan. It's not, you know, over time, I guess maybe also you can put some of the factor on our mothers. It's not every time that they carried us, hey, to the hospital. Or maybe it was us not reporting ourselves enough. But I think it's more of a mentality and how we look at it. Whereas if it's not that serious, then I'm not trying to look for what is not lost. You know? And I guess maybe another angle is that when we hear health and medical stuff, then there's also a cost implication to that. I don't know. I'm just dropping that one as well.
Well, yes, there is the cost. There is the cost implication. But are you not worth that money? Is
Again, like I said, mentally, I won't be thinking like that. You know, because I don't feel like if I have a back pain.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have a pain or if I'm experiencing discomfort, I don't expect that I'll be fine after a few days.
Yeah, I think Tolu hit the nail on the head. There is this masculinity mentality with men generally, where you think, I mean, I used to say this often. I don't say this any longer. No, I've not been to the hospital in 2 years. And I say it with pride. So there seems to be that masculinity thing that it is very manly not to have to be seeing the doctor. Because you're healthy, you're good. So it was a pride for me until recently. That's when I stopped saying I've not been to the hospital for 1 year or for 1.5 years. So that's part of masculinity that presents a man as not as vulnerable. You know, he deceives himself that he's not as vulnerable. Unfortunately, those things are not real. 2 years ago, when I had to go do a comprehensive health check, I found some funny things. You know, I look so trim. I wouldn't have thought that I have bad cholesterol that is high, for example.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just because I went in there that I found that out. So we must do something about that mentality around men that make them think they are not as vulnerable as they might actually be.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that is it. So it's an element of fear, it's the cost implication, and it's also don't fix it. If
you ain't broken, don't fix it.
And don't go and look for what is not there.
Before they will tell you have something.
Yes, but is this a right way of thinking? Because if you consider the fact that a lot of our men, the statistics show, especially first thing in the morning, I was just reading an article, a lot of men have a heart attack between first thing in the morning. And it's obviously probably because they are also thinking about, what's the word I would use? The stress of going to work and all of that. So we're still under a lot of stress, normally, physical stress, and then there's mental stress. So that will bring me to my next question. Who here has done mental health screenings before?
Oh, wow. No person with grace, they go see mental health.
No, but okay. No, but that is not the case. That is really not the case. It's not that. I wouldn't say that is not that. I know that is a strong that is a strong statement. It's a stigma that we at Health Boxes is also trying to fight. It's not the people that are crazy that go to mental health. So mental health is also not only about the extreme schizophrenic stage, you know, where you start to see the people actually manifest that they actually have mental health issues. They're very subtle ones. So things like depression is also mental health. Stress is also mental health. Anxiety is also mental health. And all of these things have been linked also to stresses on the body, like your heart and things like that. So should I assume nobody else here has had any mental health screening?
In fact, I don't even know how to, I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? Okay. Abibola, you're scratching your head. Do you have anything to add?
Well, you know, basically, live on
It looks as if we're now streaming live on Facebook, so we might have to recap a little bit so that, wow. I don't know, okay. I know. So I hope you guys are primed up and looking nice.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah, so Bimbola, you were saying about this mental health screening.
Yes, when it comes to mental health training, if you are to look at the life of a man, we, at every point in time, there's always one thing or the other at the top of our minds. And let's look at the case of, let's say, finances, that, okay, you have some obligations to meet up with, and you've not been able to get that resources you actually require in order to be able to fulfill that obligation. Then secondly, you look at the work you're doing, most importantly, for people in a sales or marketing environment, that your role or what is expected of you is target driven, your performance. You know, when you are giving such targets and you look at it, that how do I meet this thing? That one alone is sufficient enough for you to start thinking of, before you know it, these things will bring about some sort of, you know, when you're not meeting your numbers at every point in time, you are not meeting your financial needs, definitely it will impact on you negatively. Let me give you a scenario. Each time I go to the hospital and they check my blood pressure, the first thing I will ask is, please, can you tell me what's the value? Okay, 120/80. That's normal, right? I don't even expect it to go above that. But even though there are a lot of pressures that could trigger that to go up, about 3 weeks ago, I had to go to the hospital. I was feeling this pain on my right knee. I didn't fall. No, I didn't hit my knee against anything. So I was shocked that what could be responsible for this for this pain. I went to the hospital and made the complaint. The doctor gave me some drugs and said, after a week or thereabouts, if it doesn't go down, I should come back. I took those drugs. Within the first 2 days, I felt so okay. Then went back. The first thing that comes to my mind is, each time I go to the hospital, I don't want to hear anything negative. That fear factor, that this is what you have, this is the issue. Most importantly, the only thing I want to hear if I go to the hospital should be malaria, which is my major sickness, being the type, looking at my genotype, which is AA. So if you now tell me something quite different from what I already know, which is malaria, then it tends to bring a kind of, it triggers a level of panic in my system. And when you start hearing some negative things, the health sector, they are fond of some names that when you hear the name of that ailment, you look at it, which one is this one again, please? So the doctor asked me to go and do an X-ray on the right knee. Yeah. I did it. I took the results, and the result was everything seems normal. As I'm speaking with you, I'm yet to go back to the hospital to give the doctor the results. I just opened my car this morning. I can still see the X-ray film sitting in there with the results, because I felt okay, and I don't want to hear anything else.
Feel good.
You understand? The doctor was saying something about arthritis. I look at it at my tender age. No, it can't be. So all those, jargons, medical jargons, when you start hearing about some sickness, diseases, it's enough to cause mental health issues. It could bring about
depression.
Is confirmed, are able to take care of our health issues, but there are still some that HMOs still do not cover. Yes. So all those extra ones that you're looking at, how do I get funds to take care of this? Those ones alone could bring about depression. So I think it will go a long way to also reorientate ourselves as men. Not until something wrong, bad happens to us, before you can now look for a way to go to the hospital and start seeking for solutions. There are things we could do as well to prevent that. But most times, for men, I don't know, we strongly believe we are macho, that it's difficult for you to see a man go ill. even at times, if I do tell probably my colleague or my line manager at work, the kind of look is as if they will look at you, is this guy really strong? You are acting as if you are a woman. But everybody needs to go to the hospital. It's both male and female. You don't need to, it's not just one gender. It depends on your state of health.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's it for me.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you so much for that insight. Because honestly, in fact, maybe we should post it and tag every business owner that stop making our men feel as if they can't fall ill, because as a woman can fall ill, really, a man can also. So there's also that societal stigma for men to have to deal with regards to going to have their checkups. Well, I think I've taken a lot of your time. This has been extremely interesting. We didn't really go live on Facebook, but we're going to post it on our social media pages because I think this conversation is really interesting. And I don't know, it brought in some insight. I mean, I've always thought maybe it was the fear element and probably the, mainly the fear element. But it's good to now hear back to say it's also things like time constraints. It's also things like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which I guess we'll add into the fear element. It's also societal pressures, the stigma of being seen to be weak or not manly if you're going to have both your mental health and your physical health checked. But I just need to educate you guys as well. There are particular screenings that should happen at particular ages. So it's not just going to have your annual checkups. You should also be doing things like checking your prostate. So the way women have to check the breast for breast cancer, you have to be checking your prostate because that's the most common cancer for men. You should obviously check your blood. So everybody knows about blood pressure, cholesterol, BMI, and high blood pressure. But there is there's a lot more for the screenings. You have to be checking your eyes. By the time you're 40, essentially, you definitely need to be checking your eyes. You need to be checking other things, that you need to do an ECG, for example, especially if you're past 40. You have to check in your colons after you're 50, things like that. I know it's all sounding very scary, but it's all preventative measures because a lot of these things, once you catch it on time, then it doesn't actually go into the extreme end. So both for mental health and for physical health. So an example for me, I'm also, I don't even know. So I did my own 40+ screening when I was like 42, 43. So I was already late and I'm a medical professional, so I should know better. And at that time, I found out that I was pre-obese, pre-diabetic, what again did they give me? My cholesterol was high and pre-hypertensive as well. So everything they just threw at me. And my doctor was so kind to say, look, I'll give you 6 months to get it all under control. And if you don't get it under control, then I put you on tablets. And I didn't want tablets because I can't be taking tablets for the rest of my life. So I said, okay, what could I do? She gave me some things about exercise, obviously reduce my blood, my stress levels. So driving in Lagos was my #1 stress level. So I had to find ways around that, try not to drive at peak times and things like that. And a year later, I am now in the almost normal, but I'm normal. I'm normal now. Those risk factors have left. Now, if I didn't go into that, if I didn't go and have that check done, and I waited another 2 or 3 years, it would have all been, because it's all stresses on the body that causes this problem. So if anybody here has not done their screenings, please just go and check it. It would more often than not is always you are okay, I'm fantastic. So
where do you do mental health screening? Do you just walk to any doctor and have your headache?
No, you have to go. So we actually have a counseling hub in health boxes. So you can either ask for us to send you our screening. So there's like a checklist that we can send to you. But you can speak to a psychologist at the major, and some doctors also do offer that service just to check. But you don't have to go to a psychiatrist, which is the extreme end. So, but there are psychologists and some GPs also offer that service. But it's something that I do advise that everybody does on a regular basis, just to be able to check, you know, because you actually don't know that you're stressed. And half the time you find a lot of people with men are complaining back pain, headaches, and it's all stress. And if you know that, then you can start to remove the elements of stress, and then you live a better life. So anybody wants to add anything else to this conversation before we end it off?
So we can get all this info on health boxes, right?
Yes, so like I mentioned, our social media handles are very focused on driving the awareness. That's our CSR. So if you follow us on health boxes, you start to get a lot of tips about what to do, some reminders and things like that to bring it to the top of mind. So yes. So yeah, so that's what our own social media page is about.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
So can I ask you guys now, who is going to commit to doing their screening this week? And I guess Abimbola is going to go to his doctor on Monday.
Possibly today. Since the hospital is not too far away from my house.
But because arthritis is nothing, I mean, there are exercises and things. It's not a death sentence, to be honest.
Oh, you know, the doctor said something to me that I asked him that, is there a way to confirm this? He said yes, that you can be subjected to further tests, which was why he asked me to go for the X-ray. Yeah. But because I already got the results, I've seen the results, which says everything seems normal. Everything is normal. You understand? So I was happy to hear that.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
No, from the reports, apart from the X-ray film, there is another report attached to that. Yeah. So I read that. So
yeah,
that
but there might be.
That,
yes, you should still see your doctor, because there are other things.
I will. I wanted to say there's something he told me. He said you can be given some drugs to be taken in order for you to be fine if it persists. That does not have a permanent cure. That the only permanent cure will be to go through a replacement of knee. He said something about replacement of knee. That will be the permanent fix to that. So I looked at it and no, it can't be so. Maybe this guy is just scaring me. I'm not ready to go through any surgery. The only surgery
maybe he was pranking you. For you to get to that, I mean, that means you literally cannot walk again.
Well, I can walk, but he's saying that if it gets to that stage, that the only way to correct it would be to do a knee replacement surgery. And I looked at it that even if I'm going to undergo any surgery at all, it's going to be a spiritual one. God will heal me.
Amen.
Yeah. But I'll still go to the.
We didn't discuss that element of religion as part of the reasons why.
Important.
It's a factor too. It's a factor.
The God forbid factor.
I know some people.
God forbid factor. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I know I had promised it was only going to be 15 minutes, but it looks like we had such a nice time discussing, and this is what always happens when we do this thing. Everybody just starts
some people, even if education, we tell you no.
Sorry?
Thank you. No, I didn't hear you. I thought you said something. Did you say something now?
Yes. I what I was saying is that I can't remember what I was saying. No, I was saying that I was trying to round up and saying that most times when we start these things, we just all start to talk, and it goes on longer when I have this, because we do it on a regular basis once a month. Normally I bring in health experts to discuss certain things, but this one I said, let me bring in men that have nothing to do with healthcare, So let's see if it's, so we are not the ones telling you what to be doing. Yes, let's have a different perspective out there. So maybe people can relate better, and we'll see. So hopefully we'll get some conversations going on our social media pages with this. And please follow us so that, because I know when we posted it, we tagged everybody. So please follow us so that, we can keep the conversation going. Thank you so much again. And please go and do your screenings.
We will.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
It's nice speaking with you.
Same here. Same here. It's
Thank you, everyone.
Nice meeting you guys as well.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.